everybody? You are now tuned in to StarCHaser Central, a podcast about Charles Hamilton music, moments, and everything in between. I'm Sick Braxton.
And I am Mike D. Jackson.
What's up, man? How you doing? How are things?
I'm good. I would be doing better if I was in Nia Jax's position, but beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I feel the same way. Except for I wouldn't have mind being Shayna Baszler in either of those situations. So yeah, I'd take either.
I agree. Shout out to Buddy Matthews, aka Buddy Murphy, because apparently it's a weekly occurrence for him.
The real winner in this. The, the real winner in this. Yeah, good. This week is the final countdown for you until birthday time, or where are we at with that?
So this is the week officially I'm on vacation now. Yesterday is my last day. I'm on vacation now, so I'm off till next Wednesday. So 9 days or whatever. So birthday will be Sunday. So right now, everything just feels normal because it's like this would be a normal day off for me anyway. But it's still like I know I don't have to go to work. You turn your alarms off and everything. It's like I don't need this. I don't need this either. I got my work clothes, all put up and whatnot. It's like I'm not gonna need that for another week. So, but it's cool to just have them to the side. But it was good, man. It was good.
Well, that's great, man. Now, if you don't mind, how will we be turning this year?
The big 3-5.
Three,
Pretty
five,
pretty interesting, man.
right in the middle. That's oh boy. I'm right behind you. Pause.
Thank you.
Yeah. Uh, that's crazy. That's great. Anything special? Any tour? Small little Mike Jackson, uh, extravaganza tour.
Nah, only reason just because last week for St. Patrick's and whatnot, I that was like a mini impromptu tour. So I was just like, yeah, let's just make that whole weekend a tour. I was like, for my birthday, I don't know, just because it's crazy because a lot of places I know, like around my birthday time, they're not really that popping unless I really go like out of state or something. So I'm like, nah, I'm just happy to be alive, man. That's all that matters.
Hey man, I'm happy you're here too, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, we have did it. We have concluded our March Madness tournament, man. We got the final results in. We want to thank everybody who voted. We want to thank everybody who participated, commented, left any type of banter throughout the whole month of March. Um, we did it. We appreciate y'all. Yeah, but the finals happened last week. We had My Brain is Alive, the number one overall seed, taking on. Well, isn't this awkward, man? And the results are in.
So I think this is the craziest battle we've seen. Of course, it's at the finals, and it should be like that. But I remember first day results. I think I told you, hey, it's tied. It's like, oh, this is going to be a good one. Within another day or two, I think we had like 40 votes, tied again. I'm like, all right, this might not be good because I was a little worried. I'm like, what if this ends up just being a tie? Let me ask you this before we give the results out. What would we have done if there actually was a legit tie?
Well, I mean, there would have been two options. 'Cause I did think of that. I was like, well, on the unlikely chance that it did happen, during any round, we would have done one or two things. We would have asked Charles his opinion and kind of see what he thought, just see if let him be the tiebreaker, or we would have put our minds together and did a strong, unbiased take and just be like, this is what we think should be win here, and we would cast our one vote to break the tie.
Here's the problem with that. Oh wait. So our vote together would have been one vote, correct?
That's
Okay,
correct.
I got
Yeah.
you. All right. Yeah, because my thing was this. I'm like, if we end up having a tie or whatever, I'm like, you know what? I would have banished y'all to the shadow realm. For real. I'm like, come on, man. What's going on? We need one. But it has been decided. Um, I told y'all, told y'all. I can't even say. Say do the honors. Do the honors, man.
Uh, Mike came in here every week, and the most consistent thing that he did say throughout the March Madness tournament is It's awkward. Um, it's awkward. And with the vote count of 27 to 25, um, well, isn't this awkward? Was the official champion of the March Madness tournament. Um, I think I think we kind of saw this coming. The race was great. The final round was great because again, like we said, it was really close. Probably throughout the last day, really. Um, but yeah, awkward. Just I think it just had such a stronghold on the people. Everyone really, really believed in awkward as a tape, and it came away with the victory, man.
Told y'all. Told y'all. I win. Actually, I'm the winner. Because I might have got the other stuff wrong, but I did say Awkward was gonna win. So actually, I win. I'm the winner. You all lose. Thank you for playing.
That's crazy. The fans won. The fans won, man. But yeah, I get it. I do understand it. It's a great tape. It's a like we've reviewed it earlier. I don't know how people do it in the actual on YouTube where they're like, "Ooh, the link's right here somewhere." I don't know, but you can go watch that. We have it's on our playlist or whatever. So we understand it's such a great tape. I think we both gave it Supersonic, maybe something.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was good, really good rating.
If not, we at least gave it Bass Sonic. So yeah, so we understand it. Yeah, I just not really much to say.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. Once again, it was a fun endeavor, fun little thing we got to do. I hope we get to do it again in the future. It was great though. Seriously, thank you guys for voting.
But now we're back to the regular scheduled program, man. We got a new tape to review, and this one's interesting. This one's interesting. This one is, I think, another one of those later tapes that people speak highly of. Um, and we're talking about the boy who played with Barbie, man.
Yes, sir. Boy Who Played with Barbie came out almost 10 years ago. It was around April of 2014, and that's just crazy because it's like 10 years, man. Like some of these tapes, it's like time's been flying, you know. So if you look at the name Boy Who Played with Barbie, it's one of those things where, especially you think about it back then, it's like a boy playing with Barbie. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Especially even in the 90s and the early 2000s, you're like, yeah, that's that you're supposed to play with action figures. You don't play with
Right.
Barbies and whatnot. So, but the thing is, I love about what Charles doing these tapes, there's always some type of meaning, there's always some type of story, there's always something, something that you gotta look more than service level about it. So
Um, Now, do you remember when this first came out, or like how you felt about it when you first heard it?
oh, definitely. I remember like it was just like it was yesterday.
Dream sequence.
No, but seriously, I definitely remember when this tape came out. I was pretty, I didn't know what to expect at first. While listening to it, especially seeing the title, I'm like, all right, well, what's going to be going on with this? Definitely, my expectations, I don't even know what I expected, but it wasn't what I expected in a good way, where I'm like, wow, okay. Because I think around this time, this is when Charles was really trying to show people, hey, I'm good with the pen, without the pen. Doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm gonna show y'all. And this is like one of those tapes I feel like he was trying to showcase his skills. And for me, I was like, hey, I really like this tape. It's a crazy name to it, but I really like the tape. So when I first heard it, it's one of those tapes I do remember going back to a couple of times and like actually enjoying it. So I definitely remember hearing it when it first came out.
That's cool. So you heard it when it first came out. I'm a little different. This was kind of an interesting story for me, just because this is one of the first times that me and Charles actually had like a conversation. Back in actually right around April of 2019. Actually, it was this. Oh wow! Actually, hold up. Oh, that's right. This is actually a wild story. So it's 7 days before my birthday in 2019, which I would have turned 30.
Yep.
But it's also right around the time where I tore my Achilles. Like either the week before or the same week is when I tore my Achilles this week.
Damn, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
because I'm supposed to have surgery like around this time too. Um, but Charles hits me and he's just like, this is he was talking to me about his plans on like I think his plans on doing like a book or something. But also he also included Boy Who Played with Barbie and it's like just listen to this. And it was kind of like a hand in hand type thing. And
Right.
so I listened to it, I never heard it or whatever. So at this one I'm like 5 years late to the party. But I remember listening to it and I was talking about to him. I was like, yo, this is incredible. And I was like, and he was just kind of explaining to me. I don't think he was explaining the tape too much. He was more explaining, like, I guess his next move in a very Charles way, right? Uh,
Yeah.
the game is over. It's similar situations like that. But I just remember listening to this tape. I was like, yo, this is a really, really good tape. And I was like, what are we supposed to do with this? So this is an instrument. It's good to go back to this just to hear it and see if I was either I was like, this is like I wasn't distracted by, I'm talking to Charles Hampton, one of my favorite rappers of all time. Or is this like this is legit, like really, really good tape. So this is gonna be a good review for me today. So I'm ready to get to it, man.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
The tape starts with the uncoolest, which is clearly because if you see in the bars later, is kind of a reference to Lupe Fiasco's The Coolest, if you remember that record. Um, how you feel about this?
In fact, she ain't even mine. That's the reason why I cry. Listen while I whine. I don't wanna love you, so I want you. But I love you, so I want you. I might be out of control.
Like I told you, the name of the project, I'm like, all right, it's gonna be interesting. Beat comes on, I'm like, oh, he's starting with heat already, just with the beat already. Sample of Stevie. I'm like, all right, okay, cool. Even though it's called the uncoolest, but I'm like, this is cool right now. I love the beat, crazy beat. Like this is one of them songs like you hear in the beginning, first like 5 7 seconds. Well, play it back, play it back. He didn't even spit yet. Didn't even spit yet. I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be fire. I can already tell. Um, the bars are on point. The hook, it's catchy. He's doing like the same kind of cadence like Stevie did in his song, That Girl. It's interesting because I'm a I'm gonna talk about this a little bit later when we get to the end, but like I'm like, okay, like Charles definitely had some plans that none of us fans wise knew. Like it was one of those things where like I kind of think back to like when he was talking about going to London, and we were like, okay, whatever, he's going to London, and I'm like, he was hinting not even the London thing, but he was hinting towards his plans around this time, and just flew over our heads. You know what I mean? But song's dope. Speaking of Lupe, he mentions, I believe it's Lupe in the second verse because he was talking about, some girl that he knew. And then he says the LUPE guy, and at the time, yeah, he might have had more money or he might have had a better situation going on. But, fast forward to now, it's like it's a little bit different now, but he still remembers this girl. And then one of the things I do love is the Jay Dilla mention because he says, because Shaw says he's his own husband, but he also says, don't forget Dilla. And then it's kind of like he's like, I remember last time I said something about Dilla, it didn't really go that well. He's like, oh, well, maybe he might not fit in this picture, but he keep the song going. But dope song. I really like the song. Great intro.
Yeah, I think let's start with the beat. Like you said, the beat is really good. It's very inviting, especially if you're starting off the record and start off the album. It's really good. It's a cool intro. Um, not my favorite, doesn't necessarily blow me away. I do like that second verse. The second verse is amazing. Um, but it's good. It's good. I think people were talking about maybe that part of the reason he had tension with Lupe all those years ago probably has something to do with the girl in the situation or whatever. So that kind of brings that back out to light. But I think at this point, it's I think that's just part of the raps. It wasn't like I still got a problem with Lupe or whatever. But it's just one of those things where I'm reflecting on past me and like whatever happened in that thing. But now I'm here in the current state and I get the situation. It is what it is, and whatever. But as a record, it's pretty good. I think you'll see by my review that I think the first half of this tape is amazing. Like I really, really like this first half, and this actually starts it off pretty good. Like it starts it off great. So even though it's not like one of my favorites, but it does begin that ascent of like a great first half.
Nice.
Jamaican Shun is the name of this next record. Now we just want to talk about beats. This this beat is I like this beat a lot. Like just from the jump, just it's so I don't know. It's not how do I explain it? It's not like it has hints of like a okay, you know how if you go to some video games you'll go to like the fancy hotel, the fancy resort. It gives me that vibe. Like when you want to visit that resort, maybe not even for like the stuff at the resort, but just the song that plays during in the background. This is that type of shit, bro. I love this. And then the bars are going crazy. The hook is great. Um, it just feels warm and exciting and inviting. You know what I'm saying? So this is high up there for me as one of my favorite songs on the tape. What about you?
All right, nice. I get what you mean. I'm thinking of certain video games now where like literally like I would just sit in that certain area just to hear the song. I'm like, I'm not even doing anything right now, just let that play. Thank God for YouTube where people have those extended versions for 30 minutes. It's like, are you gonna listen to the whole 30? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. Don't bother me. Anyway, with this song, beats nice, beats really, really good. The verses, they're solid. I think for this song, I think he just wanted to talk about, his love for Mary Jane and just, how he feels about it because Charles is an advocate for it.
Mhm.
One thing that was interesting because you guys know I don't partake in it, but to each their own, no disrespect to anybody. Something that was interesting, he says that I love to get high, but I'm afraid of it. And it's one of those things where I know some people, I've heard them talk about, when you smoke too much or indulge in too much throughout the years, you start to get paranoia. And it's crazy because there's some people where the reason they start smoking is because of paranoia or, being anxious and whatnot. If
Mhm.
you smoke too much, you get anxiety, you get anxious, and it's like that's a double-edged sword. That's a crazy one right there. Overall, though, it's a good vibe to it. Like the song's called Jamaican Shun, but has obviously has that vibe to it, that chill out, relax, cool out vibe. Overall, it's an okay song. I rock with it. It's cool. I don't want Charles to think. I know how Charles feels. He'd be like, "Oh, Mike don't smoke, so you're not gonna like the song." I like the song. It's a fine song, just in case.
Yeah, I think anything you overindulge in has the ability or the chance that, you develop some type of maybe not a side effects, but sometimes a resistance to it. So it kind of everything that you used to get from it, you may not get from it anymore. So I can definitely see that. Um Next up is an interesting one. It's Reminder 2, Part 2. Now on that, is this spelled the same way on the tape when you remember it with the capital E and the lowercase r? Same thing?
Yep.
Okay.
hmm
Before we get to the song, do you think that means anything?
For me, when first looking at it, I didn't think about it. I thought about the first reminder, and then I was like, I couldn't pinpoint, if there was something about the two where I could, put them together. Like, oh, okay, it's this and that. Other than one being a part two, um, I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, okay, just how he wanted to spell it. He might have another song called Reminder, but it just is regularly spelled Reminder. You,
Mhm.
you know we've seen that before with certain songs where it's like, oh, they have the same name and whatnot, and then you have to make it different somehow. You don't want to have a little baby situation where you have a song called Forever, and then you have two songs called Forever. It's spelled the same way. So it's like I figure it's just spelling it differently just to make sure people could tell which is which.
That's fair. What do you feel about the song?
So when I first heard the song back then, I was like, okay, song's cool. Now I'm thinking about it. We had that review on Turn First Sessions because it was like the zombie funk songs where I was like, oh, I feel like he's somewhere performing, and but he is when he was talking about minding his business.
Mhm.
This song reminds me of that song now, and it's crazy because I'm listening back to him like, wait a minute. I'm getting that type of energy from it. I love the bars, the flip, the sample's cool. Um, the energy, like I said, just even in the hook, saying, "Can we get awkward tonight?" So he's like, I can see Charles actually performing this because like he's loud. He's it just boasting. He's just like he has that energy yelling, and it's one of those things where like, when's the last time you heard Charles like yell on a song? You know what I mean? It's been a while, so it's one of those things where I'm like, this feels like a goth party, like anyone that's goth or within that realm got together and just like threw some type of banger or some type of bash, and then like everyone just whoever are like the left outs, the people that are considered the losers and whatnot, everyone just came here to rejoice and just like speak their truth and have a good time. This is what that song feels like. But I think it's a really good song. I like it.
Quick aside, would you ever those I guess they're mosh pits technically. Those mosh pits where everybody's like dancing like really crazy, and basically they're just fighting in the mosh pit, like they're swinging and just hitting people. Would you ever join one of those? Like, let's say you're just like having a bad day, right? Like you're just like, you know what? I really just want to swing on somebody. Would you be like, you know what? Let me just go join a mosh pit and let's just do that because they usually just are like whatever, because like they
So
just do it.
So I've seen some videos on that type of stuff. So I'll say this, I guess technically yes and no. No, because that's just not really my thing. Like if I really wanted to like hit somebody, I'm going to hit that single person. But it has to be for a reason, not like if I accidentally hit someone, I feel terrible about it. But if I directly wanted to hit one person only, then I want to go directly for them and not in a mosh pit type of sense. The reason why I say yes is because it was I guess it might have been 2019. We had the festival Firefly here. We have it in
Mhm.
Delaware all the time, but not this year again because after 2020, we just haven't had it. I think we had it one more time in 2021. Whichever year it was, I think it was Suicide Boys were performing, and they're
Mhm.
like a rock rap type of thing. And me and my boy, we ended up going because we had nothing else to see. What happened was they had a mosh pit, and I'm like, man. And then it's one of those things where like with mosh pits, especially in like festivals, you normally would think, oh well, I'm gonna just go over here and get away from it. No, when they start to say open the fucking pit up, that means that it's not just one pit. You're thinking, oh, it's gonna be in the middle. No,
Right.
there's gonna
No.
be mini pits over here and another mini pit over here. It's just you can't really get away from it. But like I didn't jump in the middle, but like I kept up and I was completely fine. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. I don't want to do that again though. Don't never want to do that again. So technically I've been involved in one, but I'm like, it's not my cup of tea though. Respect to those that do it, because I will say this. One thing I didn't know about the culture is that let's say you accidentally fall and slip, right? People will actually like, whoa, move, 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 move. Someone fell, let them get up, help them up. They won't stomp on people. It's not as reckless as people think. So once I kind of learned that, I'm like, okay, people want to throw their energy and do all that, but they don't want to actually like really hurt someone. Those videos you see where someone actually wants to hurt someone, those people are just assholes. Those people are fucked up.
Well, you got your experience out, so you don't need to do it again. I feel you.
Exactly.
um, so the record, I do like what you point out that he does yell. When's the last time you really heard Charles yell on a record? Um, Reminder from This Perfect Life. If you remember, at the very end of the song, he's very much screaming in the song. It's more of an emotional scream, more than anything. A sadder scream, if you will. But this one, like you say, is more of like a happy. I'm very like this. It's kind of a shout for the golf kids, like and the difference and the the oddities or whatever. Shout out to oddities from WWE back in the day. Um, the record's okay, man. I wish because I really like Reminder. Reminder's like one of those emotional records that I really like. Um, it's okay. It's not like the worst thing on here, I don't think per se. But I do like your point again that Charles's energy is really high on this one because there's another record on here that's also very high. It's very aggressive. Like there's
Very.
another record on here that's like super aggressive that where I'm like, oh no, that's actually the goth. That's the goth record on this album. But we'll get there in due time. Trust me. But this is okay. It's an okay. Of that first half, that six, this is probably the weakest one for me. Um, but they immediately get me back with Open Bandages. Open Bandages is a great record. I remember telling Charles when I was messaging him back 5 years ago, I was like, yo, this is incredible. I told him like, yo, this is incredible. I don't know what it was about the song that made me say that. The beat is great. The hook is interesting, obviously. But yeah, I was just like, yo, this is incredible. And we just, we had a conversation about different things or whatever. Oh no, because we'll get back to it in a minute. You go first. How did you feel about the song?
All right, so it's funny you said that the hook's interesting because that's definitely what I wrote down. I said the hook is interesting and
Yeah.
creative. Um, it at this, yeah, interesting, creative. Because when I heard the beat, I'm like, okay, this is definitely a rock sample. He says it's "Jump," I think from Van Halen, but I was like, oh, okay. At this point, I think we're 4 songs in,
Yep.
and I'm like, he's so far he's killing it with the samples. Because like most of them, like if I don't know the sample, just how he's flipping it, I'm like, dope. The
Mm.
samples are dope so far, like how he's flipping them. I like the bars and the flow. Overall, it's a good song. I don't have too much written down for it. It's one of those things where I'm like, it's nothing negative about the song. It doesn't offend me. Uh, it's not my favorite, but it's something up there where I'm like, I really do like the song. It's one of those things where like I like it. That's all I can really say about it. What did you have for this though?
The last verse ends where he says, "Life is Zelda, I'm Link." And I was like, yo, that's a bar. And I like that. And then he kind of explained to me like what it meant. And he basically said, um, the system of life is not designed by Sega. He does, sometimes he likes to talk about Sega, sometimes he's not. This is one of the days where he didn't mind. Um, the system of life is not designed by Sega, but no one has access to the truth unless they invest in a Sega product. The search for one makes you Link. So basically, truth of life is basically like the Triforce, and that because we're always searching for like the what do you call it the meaning of life, the truth of life, that makes us all Link. Quiet kids that turn into adults and wear green and just yell. They never talk. We're those guys. So
Funny story about that. I'm gonna make it quick. So I think me and my coworkers were actually talking about the games, Legend of Zelda,
mm,
and my one of my coworkers, older guy, he's like in the 60s. He was like, "Oh, you guys talking about Legend of Zelda?" He was going, "Zelda!" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "That the green guy." We're like, "No, no, no, that's Link." He's like, "No, no, I know that, but no, he says that Zelda." We're like, "No, Link doesn't talk." He's like, "No, so here's the crazy thing, right? We're like, yo, no, Link doesn't talk. And he's like, no, I remember, I was watching something before, like years and years ago. I was like, Zelda. We're like, dude, there's no way he talked. What are you talking about? Here's the funny thing. The commercial, I think, was for Zelda 2, and it's from 1987 or something like that. In
mhm.
the commercial, they had a guy dressed like Link, and he goes around the castle, Zelda, Zelda, and I'm like, I had to look it up. I'm like, oh my god, he was right.
Yeah.
And he don't play video games. Like I said, he's 60 something. I'm like, so I showed him the video. He's like, I knew I remember that. I'm like, how do you remember that? He made us all look stupid. You know what I mean? I was like, bro, how do you remember that?
Why do you remember that?
Yeah.
Um,
I'm like, why do
yeah.
you remember that? He's like, I never played the game. I just remember that. I'm like, what?
What? That's not that bad. I thought he was gonna talk about the either that one bad it's like a point and click game that used to
I
be
know. I know
either
exactly
that
what you're
one,
talking about.
or I thought he was gonna talk about that cartoon that came on the Super Mario Brothers cartoon show.
Oh,
Where
okay.
yeah, because that was also bad. Because I was like, they're making a Legend of Zelda movie, and I'm just like, why? Because Link doesn't talk, so you're going to have to break the number one rule of the game immediately. So like, you can't have a whole movie where the main character doesn't talk. It's not going to work. So they're about to mess this up. It's whatever. I'm letting it go. They
Yeah.
might surprise me. Who knows?
We'll see.
Um, we follow open managers up with, and then
Great segue, even though it wasn't intentional, but it wasn't. And then
right,
now I actually love the hook for that. Just and then you get blind. It's catchy. The song overall song's catchy. The beats and bars, like it's dope, one thing he mentions, because around the time, like I told you earlier, This is around the time when everyone's song, yeah, Charles, the freestyle's nice, but can you write more? Can you do this some more?
Mhm.
And he mentions about Bo saying on the last verse, saying, Bo's going to mention about him freestyling, saying, get it together, tighten it up. And during this song, especially, I mean, even some of the other songs before, I'll say this: the freestyling is top notch. It's one of those things where I would say this for anyone that doesn't understand. I know Charles does because we've had a conversation about it. But for anyone that doesn't understand, it's like if you're gonna freestyle all the time, it's not about just making the words rhyme, because anyone can do that. It still has to sound good. It has to feel good. It just has to overall it has to keep you interested. If I'm just hearing it and I'm just like, yeah, hat and cat rhymes, bat and sat rhymes, you know, it's yeah, but like he's keeping me invested in these songs. Like the energy, like I said, the energy's good. Um, it feels like now that I'm going back to listen to this, Charles definitely was in a good headspace when putting this out, or at least like creatively as well. But I like the song. Like I said, catchy song, catchy beat. I like it overall.
Yeah, I'm a fan of this one. I think I did go back to this one a few times just to make sure. I was like, "Oh yeah, I do like this record." Like I said, the hook is great. Um, there's something about this era of music where I don't know how to explain it, but like I think from that 2014, like right before he's about to do the London move, until like the very, when that concludes, we're really starting to see that funkiness start to increase in his production. So I got that sense in this record. Great bars, like you said, the freestyle thing is a great point because there is a difference between I'm freestyling and I'm writing in my head. Like those are two different things. And one's gonna sound like he's actually trying to make a song. What's it'll make sense. Like there'll be a semblance of some type of structure, some type of song, and then sometimes you can catch him just like he's just rhyming the rhyme. And I think we'll hit that portion later in a different record that I'll probably bring up because I saw some of the comments on it. But I like this song. It's a really good song. Yeah, it's a really good song. I like this one. Uh, Next up is I believe that's "Swinging for the Fences."
Yes.
Yeah.
So I got you. So this song, I definitely played this back a couple times because I love how he started the song. Here he said, the funny thing is, whenever he's not the engineer and he's in another studio, and everyone hears the beat, whatever it is that he made, they
Mhm.
go kind of crazy, like, yo, what is this? This beat definitely sounds like that because it's just like, what is he going to do with this? But he goes off on this song because it's one of those things where it's the funky disco beat, and literally what I think of when I hear this beat, even if Charles wasn't on it, is just somebody from the 70s, like dressed up, dressed down, all the way to the nines, whatever. They're going to be doing that walk, that like they're going to be doing that walk, and they might hit the pose, they might hit the disco pose for real. Um, this sounds like this song could have been a single. For me, I'm listening back to it. I'm like, sounds like it could have been a single, honestly. Um, Charles talking about like some failed relationships on an upbeat song, and it's funny because a lot of times when you hear anyone talking about like any type of failed relationships or failed whatever, um, it normally, oh, it's kind of sad and
Mhm.
kind of melancholy. This is not at all. Maybe in the lyrics if you just read the lyrics, but no, it's just like, hey, since you let me go, I do wonder, but I'm back in my groove. I'm doing me, whatever. That's how it feels to me. Great verses, great hook, just the vibe there. I love the vibe of the song. So really good song for me. I like it.
He does a really good job of mixing the emotion of what you think would be there with something that you're like, no, that's totally opposite. Good at matching the polar opposites. Like you said, a failed relationship song, but with the upbeat disco, let's get groovy type of record, right? Um, I like the image of a '70s type of vibe. So I'm seeing Disco Inferno in there. I'm seeing Tiger Jackson. Shout out to Tiger Jackson from Tekken. Uh, Yeah, like I get it. That's definitely the vibe that it gives, man. It's so like I said, very funky, man. You can see like, before we get like the turn for sessions, you could see that's kind of the next lane he's about to take as far as his production. This is maybe one of his best production jobs for a project maybe ever. I know there's a couple of records that people are like, eh. There's one in particular that people were just like, that's not the one. But for the most part, it's great. It's great. It's very clean. This music sounds. I remember bringing that up to him too. I was like, and he'd asked me. I was like, yeah, this sounds really clean. I told him I don't see how anyone can complain about this as far as the audio quality. He's like, yeah. And we talked about how, does quality music include, being able to a cleaner sound is what I was saying. It's like kinda, but it also just means, it also has to be some type of substance to it. And we had that conversation back and forth. But yeah, swinging for the fences. Like I said, this first half of this tape, if you would just told me, all right, this is a 6-song tape, I'd be like, oh, I'd be so satisfied with these first 6. Because that's a great pack if that was all he gave us on this. So I really like this record, really good. Like I said, really funky. Something good to play, especially if you're cleaning or something. This would be really dope to play. Yeah, so I really like this record. We follow that up with Fibber on the Roof.
So I'll say this: when this tape first came out, I think this was like the instant classic that everyone quoted back then.
Okay.
I this is definitely like got replayed over and over and over and over.
Okay.
Something about the beat where it's just like, the beat's catchy, the beat just like pulls you in.
Mhm.
The flow, the bars on here. It's funny because we're talking about the disco vibe for the last song. This ain't a disco vibe, but I remember he's like, I am the rap John Travolta, and it's like
Mhm.
and like you just like how he's going with it. The hook's incredible. Shout out to him because he says Streets of Rage arcade style, and that's like probably like my go-to Sega game. If you ask me if I could only play like one Sega game for the rest of my life, probably Streets of Rage 2. At least one of the Streets of Rage games is like one of those. But this this might still be my favorite song. This might be my favorite
Okay.
song too. Like it's one of those things where like I teeter sometimes, but I'm just like, man, like it's a dope song. Overall, it's a dope song, and it's crazy because just this definitely could have did some numbers. Only thing that I know some people could have had an issue with. I know on this project I didn't talk about it much yet because he doesn't really say too much about it, but like he's talking about the carving and stuff like that. I know he makes a comment about it, like about carving Jay Dilla on the right, I think of his arm, but it's still one of those things. Like other than that, like I said, dope song. Yeah, I think I could say it's still one of my favorites.
Swagging the floor with my people. Dragging the floor with my people. Streets of Rage arcade style. Wicked old soul, wicked old, wicked old soul, wicked old soul, wicked old.
Yeah.
I don't like being a different guy, and I promise I never try to be the different guy just for different guy's sake. The record's okay. I don't know if it's not one of my favorites. It's an okay record.
I'm
Why are
listening.
you making that face? Don't make that face. It is. It's cool.
Nah. No, you're about to do your pilot stick thing. Your politic.
No, that's wild. Politics is crazy. No, I'm not. Seriously. I don't hate the record. I don't dislike the record. I would listen to it if it came on. Like this is a tape that I wouldn't mind listening front to back because it's even the record I may not like. It's like it fits within a listen, right? It kind of breaks things up.
Right.
But because it's like right in the middle and it comes after that first 6-pack that I was talking about, I was like, huh, it's okay. It might be one of those ones where I have to go back and listen to it a few more times to kind of catch maybe what everyone else was catching. But yeah, I don't dislike the record. It's good. It's good.
So what I mean by like you doing the pilot ticking thing, it's not more like, oh, you hate the records. This is not like the cookout or new girlfriend music. That's not how I'm treating it as. It's
Wait,
more like
stop. Wait, before we continue, I just thought about that. Thank you for reminding me. Hold your thought. Don't lose it.
all right.
Okay. I would like to say that we all make mistakes, right? And we all get things confused. New Girlfriend music isn't the music that isn't the song that I really, really disliked. I want to make that clear. I get that confused with another record that I'm like, I don't understand. And we reviewed it already, so I can already get to it. It's Rockstar Girl. Rockstar Girl is the one I'm like, I don't understand why people are like, that's a great record. New Girlfriend music is a good record. I just like to mess with you a lot. That's all. And it's easy. It's easy and it's fun to do. So like, that's what it was. So I just want to get
Listen,
that misconception out there. I get them confused. That's all.
listen, it went on the playlist, so I won at the end of the day. So
Sure.
so no, but seriously, now my thing is this: it's one of my favorite songs on here. There's other people that ride for the song harder than I do, but it's just it is interesting when I hear other people say, "Oh, I feel this way about it." Like you said, you don't hate it, but it's like it's just interesting. I'm like, like I will say this: if you were in the Facebook group and you said that, you definitely would have got stomped out for that. Not by me, but by other people. It would have been a thread of like 200 comments. What? How do you not like the song? How do you not? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Good thing I wasn't there, huh? Because I would have fell into that toxic hole like everybody else did. Because it would have been bad. Super Sex is next, though.
So the way that you feel, not necessarily that you feel about the last song, Fiddler on the Roof, but how you said, hey, the 6-pack right here, the first 6 songs, I'm really vibing with them. Then this song, it's okay. That's kind of how I feel about Super Sex, where first 7 songs, I'm like, all right, I'm cool with or whatever. Then I get to Super Sex, I'm like, all right. When I first heard the song, I think I liked it more then than I do now, because at the time, I remember when Charles was sampling stuff. We all know Charles can sample anything, but at the time, around this era, Charles wasn't sampling a lot of like newer songs. Like he would just sample whatever he wanted to. So hearing that the Bruno Mars sample, hearing that sample, I'm like, wait, this Bruno Mars song just came out like fairly recent within that time period. So I'm like, okay, it's pretty cool to see him sample something of as of late, because for me, I know around that time when I was like really getting into my own sampling, that's what I was doing. I was just finding whatever was popular on YouTube at the time and just flipping it just to see how it would come out. So in that aspect, I love the sample. I love what he did with it. It's funny because he said in the beginning of the song about a Asian white girl. He's like, I'm in love with you, and we've seen most of Charles's exes, and I'm like, I ain't seen no white or Asian before, so whoever she is, shout out to her. So but the song he's talking about, it feels like he's reminiscing about, maybe that past relationship or what happened with that, because he starts off the verse of, he just got out of jail, and that's always awesome. If you get out of a bad situation, someone's right there to hold you down and everything. So that's definitely a reason I can see him being like, that's why I think about us, in the hook. And obviously he's talking about the sex, the super sex. So if you got some super sex, then of course that's going to be on your mind too. So overall, like I said, I think I like the song a little bit more then than now. I don't hate the song now, but now when I hear it, it's like it's cool. It's an okay song overall.
Yeah, I'd say this along with Fib on the Roof, and then our next song was kind of like my least favorite stretch of the tape. Um, it's okay. It's not like it doesn't blow me away. Um, it's an okay song. And then like when I see the title, I immediately think of other songs that may have sex in them. So the first thing I think of is Cyber Sex from
Yeah,
Street Rap.
right.
And like I do that comparison thing that I hate sometimes. And I'm like, oh, not cyber sex, but it's an okay record. I can see why people would like it. I can see if you don't like Bruno Mars, why you might not like it, because it's definitely that influence and that sound is that so much infused in the record that it's kind of hard to it's distracting is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It's an okay record. So this song coming up, Randy, parentheses Elena, has a great sample because I love that My Chemical Romance song, Helena. It's a very good song, a great video, also, by the way, if you've never seen that video. Um, we've talked a lot on here about Charles doing the rock sample and infusing it in his style, and how sometimes the rock they don't mesh, and that the rock one is just it just sounds loud. I think this one falls victim to that. So I can see why people would not like it. I don't hate it. At first, when I first listened to it, I was like, I like this. I think the sample was doing a lot of heavy lifting. And then I re-listened to it again, and I was like, I don't know how often I could listen to this over and over. I like the song. I like the verse. I love the hook. The hook is great, but I think it's one of those listens where you have to do it few and far in between to really enjoy it to this max level. What about you? How do you feel about it?
So like you said, shout out to My Chemical Romance, because it's one of those things that I picked up on instantly.
Yeah.
I remember when that song first came out, the actual, sample, it would be me waking up for school first thing, because like the TV I had an alarm on there where if I had to wake up at 6 o'clock, TV would turn on exactly at 6. My
Mm,
TV was on MTV, so the video usually that was the video that would come on at
yeah.
that time. So I'd be waking up to that. I'm like, and I'm not like the biggest fan of like rock, but like I like that song. I like My Chemical Romance. So like stuff like that that's loud, I'm like, that's gonna wake me up. So good. Keep that as an alarm. So good sample, crazy flip what he did with it. I think what it is now, because I really did like the song a lot more than back then compared to now too. Still like the song now. I think what it is, the beat, like I said, the sample flip is wild. Like if you just play that by itself, instrumental wise, whatever, it goes crazy. I think what it is for me, the bars are there. The bars are there for the song. Like Charles doesn't like lack with bars, and like I said, the hook's cool.
Mhm.
I think it's one of them situations, like we said before, with like the issue with like freestyling or writing in your head, where it's just he's telling a story, because it sounds like he's talking about another relationship, or how things could be tumultuous.
Mhm.
That's how I feel about it, because tumultuous is loud, the beat's loud, the emotions they're kind of brooding, you feel it, but it's you can feel the love too. I think overall this is like one of them songs where he's freestyling, but at the same time it's like, not that he's not talking about anything, but you just can't latch on to anything. It's just like it's cool. It's cool, but like for me, the replay value is in the beat, not in the lyrics. Like there's no like lyrics that pop up in my head like right now where I'm like, oh, he said this bar he flipped, and no, it's like for me, I'm like it's more the beat. Like I said, the beat is really crazy. The verses are cool, but I think this is what I mean though about like if you're going to be freestyling, you got to have some quotables or something, some
Mhm.
type of flow, some type of pattern that's going to catch people on. Otherwise, people like me, we're going to listen to it and be like, that was cool. And then I might not go back to it as often. So
Yeah.
overall, cool song. Beats fire though. Beat is crazy. So
I get it. I get it is next. The beat immediately is the first thing I notice. I like the beat. That hard rock to start off and it drops all the way down to this type of MIDI type of beat or whatever. So again, it's a very good ride that he's bringing us on as far as like production wise. I can see the song being divisive. I'll say that. This is the song where it's like it just sounds like he's freestyling the freestyle because the same way you had mentioned that the last song where he's like he's rapping and it's nothing bad about it, but there's nothing to latch on to. This is very similar to that because like he's rapping and like he's different. It's like he's talking to himself or talking to us. It sounds like a conversation, but one that I don't necessarily understand. I don't dislike the song. I actually like the song a lot, but it's one of those songs where it's like, how do you if I wanted to present that song to somebody that's not a Charles Hamilton fan or one that's like, "Oh, you haven't heard this song? Here, listen to this one." I don't know the pitch to that, right? I don't know how to be like, "This song is good because of." I don't know. I don't know how to explain that one. So that's kinda how I feel about the song. It's good to me, but I could see why it wouldn't necessarily resonate with other Star Chasers, if that makes sense.
okay. Um, I could be wrong. I might be misremembering. I want to say this was like the lead single to this project, because I do remember at one point Charles like soloed this song out and said, "Hey, y'all, check this song out." Like this is like the first song, maybe not he recorded, but like, hey, this is the first song I want y'all to listen to, or this is the first single for this project. Because I definitely remember hearing this first before anything else, but not like the project. So I feel like this is like the first song that came out before anything else, and he was kind of just prepping us for this tape. One of the things I do love about the song, because it has that poppy feel to it, and then he says, this is for everybody that that had an issue with going to prom and all that, or that didn't get picked at prom, and then he says, I didn't go to prom.
Yeah.
And it has that feeling to it where it's like, yeah, there's some people where like, I went to prom solo, both of my proms. And I know how some people could be like, well, I'm just not going. I'm just not going. Nope, because it's gonna be a bad time. I had a blast. I could dance with whoever I wanted. I went to one homecoming with a date, worst decision ever. So ever since then, I was like, nope, never doing that again. Had a blast, dance on every girl possible.
Right.
Every girl possible. All of them. All of them. Anyway, with this song, I love how it's upbeat and whatnot. The hook's catchy. What we basically said earlier. So the first verse I'm rocking with, because he's basically talking about prom, maybe the high school stuff, the activities, also maybe a little bit alluding to the industry. Hey, this stuff's not for me. And you realize, like, man, I thought this is what I wanted. This is what everyone put the glitz and glamour on it. They made it shine and glitter, and this is really not for me. This is not what I'm into. I don't want to do that. So it's kind of like the anti-prom, the anti song, so it's like, hey, this is not for me, but I'm okay with that. So I was feeling it with the first verse. Saying the third verse, I think that's where it starts to go a little downhill. Like I said, the bars are nice, but then like we're talking about the whole freestyling, because he's trying to, I know what he does. Like he's rapping, and then he'll spin back around to make sure he incorporates what he was talking about before. So, like if he was part of the basketball team, oh, I scored. If I was there, I'm gonna made that shot. I would have scored and won the game. And then it's the thing where like he'll go back into what he's talking about, and then he might go back to talking about if I was on this team, if I would have scored, but it's sometimes it's a little cluttered, how it comes across. Maybe in his mind it sounds a little bit better, but when it's put down on the track, sometimes it doesn't come off the best way. Overall, still a good song, but I think we're starting to get to that point of, hey, where people will tell him, you got to write it down, because you have the blueprint right here. It's just the steps are out of order. Instead of it being 1 through 5, you got it going like 1, 5, 6, 9, E. Like there's an E in there somewhere. It's like, we know exactly what you mean, but just write it down first. So, but overall, it's still good though. It's still overall good. Like I said, with the freestyling on this project compared to others, a lot better. Because like I said, it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable. And while some other projects, it might feel like a chore, because it's like, I hear him, but I don't get it. But in this song, I get it though. I do get it. It just feels like the
You
stuff.
did it. You said it.
I did the thing. I did the thing. Overall, I do get it though. I legit, I get it.
Level up.
Level up, bitch. Let me fucking car. Get the fuck up, bitch. Where are you imposing? Level up, bitch. Let me fucking car. Get the fuck up, bitch. Where are you imposing? Level up, bitch. Let me fucking car. Get the fuck up, bitch. Where are you imposing? GOTA 40. GOTA 40.
How you feel about this song, bro?
So this actually might have been my favorite back then. I think this was my favorite back then. So I think it's how he starts the song. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. When you talk to me, you show me some respect. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, okay, who was he talking to? I feel like he mentioned what or who he was talking about back then, but I just can't remember. The crazy intro. This is the super aggressive song that you were referring to earlier. Maybe it's the Aries in me, because I'm a March Aries. This is what I say, right? Because people, I have no disrespect to April Aries, but I feel like March Aries.
But you do. I remember it. You said it on the timeline. You was like, "Oh, if you were April Aries, I remember it. We beat for it for like a month."
No, we didn't. We didn't beef. You just had a personal problem. I don't.
You were the personal problem.
No, you have a personal problem. You got to look inward within yourself. You got to look at the
No,
man in the
you
mirror.
inward need to look inward. How about that?
Yo, here's the funny thing, right? I can tell you right now. When I make posts like that, it's definitely not about all April Aries. It's probably about a girl that I wanted to like
Fair.
sub her and get her attention just to make people mad. Because I do shit like that. So that's just me. Anyway, I think it's the March Aries in me where like it's the cause I think that's what I feel like I'm a broken record where like I'm like, oh man, I like when Charles, he has these type of bars and he's getting aggressive and loud and like that's not my everyday thing, but like I think I'm used to like what he used to do. So with
Mhm.
me when I see it, it's like, oh, and it's returning, okay, But at the same time, like I think I like people being upfront and honest. So it's a thing of like that's him being upfront and honest and not holding anything back. So he's yelling, he's rapping, he's I won't say screaming too much, but he is screaming a little bit because he's talking about, let me carve. At one point, I know he's saying he doesn't want to be here, but y'all like me, so I gotta be here, but I don't want to be here. I want to just carve and get it over with. The hook, like I said, is crazy. Beats crazy. Overall, I like that. I still like the song though. One thing I will say, because we were talking about the freestyling thing, I give him props for this. At one point, I think he sneezes and coughs on the song,
Mhm.
and then that like completely just like it might take you out of it. And then he's like, "Oh, wait, keep the beat going, keep the beat going." Then he goes back into it. So like he did a great job like recovering because after you sneeze and cough, I think he lost probably like at least like 4 bars doing that. So I'm like, it's a good save. Overall, I do like the song. I still do like the song a lot. So it's that aggression, man. It just does something. It gets the people going, Aries people. So
Yeah, in theory, I shouldn't like the song, um, but I love the song. The song is yo, it's so aggressive, bro. Again, like you said, he just like the beat coming on that aggressive and that hard, and then him saying like, "Yeah, you gonna show me my respect." I'm like, "Oh, who is he mad at? Like, why is he acting like this?" And then he just goes into it, like from the jump. And then, like you said, the hook where he's again not screaming, but like he's like really boisterous, really loud, really aggressive with it. And then, like you said, at third verse, he gets even more aggressive. And you had mentioned like, who's he talking to? He I won't say it's a cop out, but he says, "This whole time I was talking to the beat." So it's like, oh, okay. I mean, I would too. The beat is very aggressive, so I would also talk to him like that. And if you're Charles, like that's a good point because like when you talk to me, beat, you're gonna show me my respect because we're gonna work hand in hand anyway. So you show me the respect, I'm gonna show you the respect, and we're gonna make a great song. And he did it. He leveled up on this record, man. This beat is tough. I wouldn't mind hearing other rappers on this beat. That would be crazy because it's that good. Um, I like the little fade out and then bring it back with the scratch. That's dope too. Honestly, I wish this album would have ended with this. Honestly, I think it would have been a great way to end the record. Honestly, for me personally.
I get you.
Um,
I
but
find it funny that near that end of that verse where he said he was talking to the beat and whatnot, and then he's like, sorry. Because it's like he leveled up on the beat with the beat and everything, and then he knew it was time to like actually like calm down. It's like I
yeah,
was talking to the beat. Sorry, y'all, sorry.
yeah,
And it's like, oh, hey, that's it. Just in case y'all are wondering, like I'm good. I'm good. Just had to just get that out there. That's very Aries energy. Like, listen, I had to get that out there. I don't feel like that all the time. Just for this like 4 minutes or whatever, how I felt right there. After that,
yeah,
I'm good. Straight.
yeah. And somebody like, "Are you sure?" No, I'm good. It's over. We're done here.
Yep.
um, the album actually ends with entitled title.
So is it possible I can hear your thoughts first? Because I don't want to say I have a lot to say, but
Okay.
I'm really interested. I'm interested in what you got to say because, like I said,
Okay.
I've heard this before, like back then, and I remember some comments about the song. So
Um, my personal opinions on the record today, and probably even back then, I was like, I'm indifferent, I guess, for me.
okay,
There's really nothing that draws me in. There's nothing that's super memorable about it. I don't think it's bad per se. Because there's a difference between bad and just it's a difference between bad, not liking it, and just not having an opinion on it. And for me, I'm in the third bucket because
Okay.
I'm like, it's okay. Again, like I said, if I could remove this and just end it with level up, I was like, what a great way to just get us out of here. Like to me, that would have been a more impactful ending for me. Even if you want to take this record entitled title and move it somewhere else, maybe it fits in a better position. Maybe I have a different opinion on it. Can't say yes, can't say no. But I think ending the album with this after that such an aggressive like record, it's kind of like it's kind of like a very it's an airplane landing because we could have crashed our airplane with level up, obviously. But this one's just like nope, we made it. That's it. We're done here. You know what I'm saying? So
I got you.
it's just there for me personally.
Okay, so my opinion for the at least the airplane thing, I think differently about it. So Level Up was the airplane crashing.
Mhm.
Entitled Title was the aftermath, like the bad ending. Like that's the song that plays. You got the bad ending. You didn't get enough,
Got it.
whatever. So this is the music that plays. And then what you have to realize, you have to see all the families realizing, oh, my person didn't come home. My family didn't, that's how I feel about it. Like that's still the bad ending. This is the
Uh,
credits. The end scene credits are playing now, and it's your fault because you crashed the plane. Mission failed, and then there is no like uh restarting the game over. It's like, nope, you got the bad ending. You have to completely start all the way over.
got it.
Anyway, so that's how I think about it for that standpoint. But overall, song is it is you go from one extreme to the other because it's like really emotional and sad.
Mhm.
For me, I've always felt a certain way about the song. Like I definitely rock with it, especially the hook. Um, saying, "Mommy, what did I do wrong? I just want to write my songs." Because it's one of those things where Charles got in the industry to make music, make good music, get a Grammy, to boost up the morale of real music and artists and musicians.
Mhm.
But the most, I guess, controversial thing, well, we'll get into it. Charles says that he made love to a gay guy in the song, and Charles says, he's talked about it a little bit before, in blog posts and whatnot, and he's plainly stated like, hey, I'm not gay, I'm not this, I'm not that. So, whatever happened to me in my past is my past. And I think with the song, it's very telling because no matter how you want to represent yourself, if you have something like your morals or your standards, whatever you want to call it, if they become compromised or they become questioned, they become challenged, especially years ago, people would look at you crazy. They look at you funny, like, "Yo, you did what? Or you had this happen to you?
Mhm.
Oh no, you're one of them. You're not. Nah, you can't sit over here anymore." You know what I mean? And I feel like this is Charles explaining, how it goes from, maybe not for himself, but if you let's say if you've been a victim of something, a lot of times the victim might become the abuser or the aggressor.
Mhm.
You might start to take that out on somebody else. So
Right.
but the song overall, I really like the song, but it's one of those things where it's very charged with emotion and some type of passion in there. Speaking of that, so for those of you that have never heard the song, and then you're like, wait, Charles said, what about a gay guy? What? So if you've never heard anything about that or any blog post or nothing like that, I do want to reference something Charles posted, I believe it was last week.
Mhm.
He had a post on his blog, Queer as Folk, and in a post he said in 2022, he said that he identified it as queer and people mistook it. Basically, what Charles was trying to say was that just the way he is, he's different. Like he's talking about being goth and whatnot,
Mhm.
and he's not like everybody else. So that's what he's trying to say. Like how some people talk about being like quirky or being unique. That's what Charles was talking about, being unique, being different. He didn't mean being part of the LGBTQIA plus community.
Mhm.
I know Charles doesn't have a problem with anyone in that community, but he also wanted to say that he could give a fuck less what you guys think. So if you want to treat him a certain way or you think he is, then it's kind of just like, yo, whatever, fuck you. You know what I mean? Because that's not who he is. And also, whatever has happened in his past, you can't define him to one situation or one incident or one one occurrence. You know what I mean? Even if it was two occurrences, three, whatever, it doesn't matter. That's not who he is as a person. And I feel like this was a point where Charles maybe it might not have been the best way to have the conversation, but it's still a thing where you got to think about it. Name any other artists, name them saying something like that, and think about it. Would you still be a fan of them if they openly said, "Hey, this is how I'm rocking. This is what I'm doing." You know.
Mhm.
Overall, I like the song, but I just wanted to get that out there that, no matter what, no matter what Charles wants to do, what he wants to pursue, what his interests are when it comes to music, people like we gotta love each other and support them no matter what, because at the end of the day, you got one life, you gotta live up to the fullest, and it shouldn't matter. It's really no one's business. You know what I mean? So whatever's happened is happened. It is what it is. So
And yeah, I mean, that's the real key is that I think whether it's social media, whether it's this obsession with celebrities' lives or people that we idolize lives or whatever, we really shouldn't be caring about what they do on their own time as long as it's not like illegal. You know what I'm saying? Like as long as nothing like that's gonna like there moral compass should be the right way, right? Like you shouldn't be doing stuff that people named Sean do or like people named Robert would do. These are things that you shouldn't do, right? Like those are things that we can't justify, right?
don't
Uh,
forget Dirty Dan either.
oh, can't forget about Dirty Dan. Dirty Dan. Holy shit. Or Brian or any of the other
Yeah.
weirdos. Those things is like whatever. But like as far as like people's like lifestyles and like who they, that's their business, right? And even situations like, because I think when Charles said the thing that he said, I think it's more of and just the way he uses certain words that I brought up before. I know what he means by that, and it's more of like a predatorial thing. Especially after seeing everything that's happened in any industry that you can think of, Hollywood, sports, not sports, but Hollywood, maybe Hollywood, music, those type of situations where people abuse power and try to get stuff out of people that it's just wrong, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what he probably alludes to, or even just stuff like in his early childhood, which one day we'll probably bring that up in at some point just to kind of tie things in. Um, yeah, like I said, at the end of the day, it's about letting people live, letting people be who they are, and that's really all that you should be. You shouldn't be worried about if you love their art. That's all that really you should care about or whatever. Also, English major in me. Queer just means strange and odd, so he technically used the word correctly.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. He said, I'm weird, but I thought that was just a smart way of using it. But of course, we know how the English language slang
Yeah,
changes so much there, where
mm,
if you're not hip to it or you don't know what the current usage of it is, it's definitely going to get used the wrong way. Even though you're using it in the correct way, but the current updated version, people are going to be like, "Oh, you meant this," and then you know how people take things and run with it. So
right.
I wanted to make sure that was clear.
Yeah, I mean, no one's wrong in the way that they use it. The way that the whoever has said may have said anything, they use it in the way that modern people use it. It's fine, but I just want to say that the original version and the original definition is just strange or odd. So no one's wrong, but it's like if somebody's explaining to you what they mean, that's really should be what it is, and that's the end of the conversation. But people and their thoughts that aren't asked for, I'll say that, can be a detriment. Um, but yeah, we've reached the end of the tape, man. Boy Who Played with Barbie. Um, we're coming up on 10 years actually of the anniversary of this tape, which is crazy. So a perfect time to give it our rating. So Mike, what do you have the rating for Boy Who Played with Barbie?
So it's interesting because when I went back to listen to this tape, like I said, I liked it before,
Mhm.
still like it now. Comparison, I feel like I don't need to make it, but I think it warrants some merit. So we talked about what Charles is doing on Hamilton Charles, where some of the stuff was like seemed a little forced because he had to clean a lot of stuff up that we're not used to. On Turn First Sessions, we felt like, hey, this sounds a little bit better because he's he's playing the pocket where he still has to keep things clean, but it seems like more like he's interested in this type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
To me, as I'm listening to this, I'm thinking about this is around 2014. This might have been around the time where he was going in the studio and we talk about how everything sounded, a lot cleaner, like for like audio wise. I'm like, this might have been one of the projects he could have been recording when he was recording a ton of projects, just like knocking them out. So in my head, this project, now I'm listening to it again, it sounds like what he could have done with like Turn First and all that type of stuff, but leaving in all the left talk, the carving, any mentions of, any acts that, are seem, taboo in hip hop, anything, really negative that Charles normally goes into. I'm like, this sounds like one of those tapes, but he was able to say exactly what he wanted and how he wanted it, and he could sample whatever he wanted without any issue. So it's a version of him being, it's the unrestricted version of one of those tapes, because a lot of these songs still have like that pop appeal to it where I'm like, anybody, I could play this for somebody and be like, oh snap, this is pretty catchy. This is pretty groovy or whatever the case is. So I just wanted to say that overall, I still like the tape. I think there are a few songs that like now when I listen to them, I'm like, they're okay. I still like them, but maybe not as much. Maybe the nostalgia hasn't gotten me with it where it's like, oh, I still like it. I still like it. It's like, so I'm more realistic about it. Overall, I will give this tape. Back then, I might have said Supersonic, and I was thinking about it now because I heard it 3 or 4 times. I'm like, nah, it's still not up there for me, but it is a bass Sonic. I will give it a bass Sonic. Really, really good tape. Some songs I'm like, I feel okay about. I'm like, overall, some great rapping, some great content in it overall. If you've never heard it, definitely like this is one of those tapes I would definitely be like highly recommend though.
Okay. Yeah, I think from the last when I first heard it, when Charles sent me the tape to listen to, and today, it's definitely a difference. I think back then, one, I was very excited to talk to Charles. If you don't know, one of my goals one day, and I don't know if it'll ever get done, I'll figure it out, is I would like to write a book about Charles. I would like to just, one long book with Charles, just kind of like detailing his life and like his career and all that type of stuff. I would love to do that. Um, whether it be like a biography, autobiography type of situation, I would like to be part of that process and kind of put that out. So we'll see if that ever happens. But being able to talk to him and just kind of discuss the music with him was it was a good moment for me. Like especially during that time again, I was hurt, about to go into surgery, so like that kind of boosted my spirits. So like I'll always have that memory or whatever. And even now, like I feel like we're even in a better position as far as like conversating and having different conversations or whatever. Um, but listen to the music today. I'm gonna give it a Knuckles. The reason being is using Knuckles as in the game. When you glide with Knuckles, he starts off really high, and I feel like that first half of this tape is like that's him at the peak. So it's like, but as you go further down, he doesn't glide just straight. He glides to land, and I feel like that's kind of how this tape was, where it started off. That first six is so high, like you're gliding, it's great, and it kind of tapers off a little bit, and there are some good songs in that second half. But it does kind of just land with like a poof. You know what I'm saying? With that last song for me personally. Um, doesn't mean any of the songs are bad or that you shouldn't listen to them. But it is one of those things where I'm like, you know, it definitely peaks at that first half. But there are some gems in the back, like Level Up is fun. I would say listen to Level Up to get yourself going, maybe before a workout or something. It'll definitely jazz you up. I'll tell you that for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a Knuckles. It's some really good songs on here. Go in there, find the ones you like. You definitely like everything. The production is great. I'll say that too. One of the best produced albums that he has. Yeah, Knuckles, man.
I'm surprised because I figured you would have said like a reverse Knuckles. I remember before when you gave Knuckles, you would mention about how sometimes you have to go through, the beginning might be a little rough, you got, punch your way through, and then you get to some of the better songs and whatnot. Because when you first started, you're like, hey, I like these first six. So I'm like, whoa, you like the first six, how do you. But I get it though. So that's why I was like, maybe he's going to do like a reverse knuckles, because like first six you were rocking with, then some of the other ones you're like, I like this one's all right, like this one's okay, but overall I respect it, hey, we all like what we like, and overall it's great Charles music.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely go listen to it, man. You listen to Boy Who Played with Barbie. You let us know what your favorite songs were and how you would rate the tape. You can also follow us on our socials. Actually, you can follow us on YouTube, StarCHaser Central. You can also follow us on Twitter, StarCH Central. Is that right?
Yep.
Cool. You can also follow us on our individual pages. I'm at Stick Around 54 on Twitter and Instagram. That's STIK around 54. Mike, where can they find you, buddy?
On Instagram, the Mike Jackson, Mike Jackson. On Twitter, Mike D Jackson, Mike DEE Jackson, Mike D Jackson, 1D, 2 E's. Also, make sure you follow Charles Hamilton on Twitter at Charles Hamilton. Hit up the blog, enter the hamilton.blogspot.com. Also, we didn't say this before, but I'll say it now. For anyone wondering, there's nothing wrong with boys playing with Barbies at all. If you want to play with Barbies, go ahead. Girls want to play with action figures and little toy soldiers, go ahead. Doesn't matter. That does not shape who you are and who are you are going to be in the future. So play with your Barbies, play with your action figures, play with your wrestlers, play with yourself if that's what you're into. Don't do that in public though. But don't do it in public.
Okay.
That's how I'm ending it.
That's something.
Listen, I'm weird. All right.
Yeah.
I'm weird.
You are definitely weird. I'm not gonna argue with you.
I'm awkward as well.
Shout out to Awkward again for winning the March Madness tournament, by the way. Also, man, listen, April, we want to do another special. We don't know what we're gonna do. So if you have any ideas for like a special episode that we want to do, let us know. We did a Valentine's Day playlist that y'all really loved in February. January, we did the review for Winter Rush and Winter Rush 2. By the way, Tell How's our least viewed episode, but I think it's one of our best because I feel like that was a great episode as far as just like exploring the tape that maybe people hadn't listened to. So make sure you go watch that. But let us know what you want us to review or what kind of special you want us to do. We're up for any type of ideas, and we might implement it and shout you out, man. But again, thank everybody who did the March Madness tournament.
Agreed. If you guys are rocking with the playlist, let us know if you want another playlist. If you have any idea, anything, let us know because I don't have an idea for April, like an April Fool's type of thing. I don't know. So,
but we will figure it out regardless. Do you have any last words for the people?
I was thinking about quoting the last thing Charles says about awkward, but I'll let it go.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate
awkward.
it. We are signing out of the StarCHaser Central podcast, man, where we always encourage you to follow your dreams
and reach for the stars.
I was talking to the beat this entire time, and I probably just melted the no smoking fire sign. Sorry.